Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae, along with Judge Ashley Wilcott.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for being with us for a big day out in Virginia. The au pair affair murder trial where defendant Brendan Banfield is on the stand right now. He and his au pair, they are accused of killing his wife, Christine, and another man, a stranger, Joseph Ryan, that prosecutors say was unwittingly used in this alleged murder plot.
That's right. According to the Commonwealth, Banfield found Ryan on a fetish website, posed as Christine under the pseudonym Anastasia, and asked him to come to her home to engage in violent sex. The au pair and co-defendant, Juliana Magalhaes, took a plea deal, and she testified that Banfield shot and killed Ryan and then stabbed his own wife to death.
But Banfield is telling a very different side on the stand. It's his own story that is coming out in front of the jury. Let's get you back inside of the courtroom, picking it up right where we left off in that direct examination.
Yes.
Okay. So when you're in terms of training for people that go to Silver Eagle, is there any sort of training class or anything like that?
The first time you go there, they do a safety class, making sure that you understand the fundamentals of using a firearm, that you treat all firearms if they're loaded. You never point a firearm at anything that you're not willing to shoot. Things like that, making sure that you understand the safety mechanisms of a firearm, and making sure that you understand range etiquette, that the gun should always be pointed down range, it should never be pointed at another person, things like that.
And is this something that you knew through your training?
Yes, this is something that is also discussed in my trainings.
And so would this training that you're talking about at Silver Eagle be for someone who's never shot a gun before?
Yes, it would be for a kind of a beginner lesson.
Okay. And she went with you twice, correct?
Yes, she did.
Was there, in having her come to the range, was there any plan that she was going to back you up on some plan?
I mean, there was no plan at this point when we had gone to the range. There was none of the suspect email account. There was no FetLife account. There was no Telegram messages. None of that existed at the point that we went to the range.
Okay. Now, did FetLife or Gmail or Telegram ever exist for you?
I did not know about them until after Christine died. I didn't get to see them until after Juliana's arrest.
And you're talking about the criminal reports, the police reports, things like that?
Yes. The
things that the Commonwealth gives?
Yes.
Okay. So let's move toward, so let me ask you this. There's some dates that came up recently. Some dates that came up recently relating to the FetLife account and lack of activity. Do you remember what occurred, what was going on January 13th and 14th of 2023?
Not specifically, I don't.
Okay. Do you remember a weekend in Winchester?
Yes, I do remember a weekend in Winchester.
Who was with you in Winchester?
I went to Winchester for work. I was going to be there for 2 days. I was going to be there for 2 days. So I had a hotel, and Juliana drove there herself, not with me, later the evening of the first day, if I remember correctly.
And she stayed there with you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you remember what was going on at home with Christine and Valerie?
I believe my mother-in-law, Linda, was with Christine and Valerie.
Okay. That was on the 31st of January and February 1st?
I don't remember the exact date of Winchester, but...
Okay. Would that be common for your mother-in-law or even your mother to come down to help out with the kids?
Well, there's only Valerie, but yes, it is extremely common that the grandmothers came to visit us. Oftentimes, each of them may come almost as every 4 to 6 weeks, and they may spend between 5 and 10 days. As I had said before, Valerie was the only grandchild of both sides of the grandparents, and so there was quite a lot of support from the grandparents with Valerie.
Okay. Now, January 13th and January 14th, was that one of those days when someone was visiting, or that weekend?
I mean, they visited frequently, but I don't remember specifically that they visited that weekend.
Okay. Now, let's talk about February 24th. Can you describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what were you doing that morning? What was your plan for the day with work or with the family or?
Sure. February 23rd is my birthday, and the evening I was planning to drive to New York with Valerie. My friends in New York had planned a birthday party for me in New York.
And I'm sorry, the 23rd was your birthday. Are you talking about the next day?
The previous day.
Previous day of 23rd?
So I believe February 23rd was a Thursday, which was
right.
My 38th birthday, and the 24th was today that...
Okay. And my question was, when you were talking about going up, your friends were having a party, you're talking about the 24th?
Well, yes, because that was Friday, and I had to work on that Friday still, so I was going to go to New York in the evening.
Okay. So the 24th, your day was planned, and what did you fill your day with in terms of your plan?
So, but in terms of the day was an important day for me at work as well. There was an important meeting for one of my cases. There was going to be a undercover operation for one of my cases. And we were meeting with the undercover officer, a senior special agent, and my manager. That meeting was scheduled for 9:30 that day. This was a particularly important meeting for me, as had been indicated that success in this case may lead to me getting a promotion to a senior special agent.
Okay, so had you ever heard that kind of talk before?
Yes, other people that were hired at a similar time as me, you have to hit certain milestones before you could progress to being a senior agent.
So Friday, February 24th, 2023 was potentially a milestone for you?
Yes.
Of your career?
It was supposed to be the meeting that would set up for the undercover operation, which was going to take place most likely on Tuesday. So we were going to go over all the documentation and the plan for the operation on Tuesday the following week.
Okay. Now, so what did that mean in terms of your normal waking up or any other usual habits?
I woke up a little bit earlier that day. I was planning to get to my office, which is in Vienna, a little bit earlier, so that I could set up the conference room, have my documents ready, have my presentation ready, have the document for the operation available so that it could be signed off by management.
Okay. And so what time did you wake up that morning?
I believe I woke up 6:30.
Okay. And do you remember whether or not Christine was up?
Christine I had seen seemed to be awake and on her cell phone when I was getting ready and taking a shower to get ready for work.
Okay. Now, did you have any sort of interaction with her at that time?
Yes, she was aware that I had this meeting that day. She wished me luck. She said that she would talk to me before I headed to New York with Valerie. Told me she loved me and have a good day.
Okay, so you carried on with your morning. What did that entail?
I went downstairs and got my work laptop out of the basement. My work from home space at that time was in the basement. I have a desk. I have a desk down there. It's because it's quiet. So I got my work stuff ready. I made sure that I had all of my equipment. Getting ready on a typical day would mean that I need to have my credentials, which includes my badge, my firearm, my holster, my handcuffs, two magazines, a belt clip badge, my work cell phone, and then generally I would also have my personal cell phone, my wallet, and my keys, which includes to my government vehicle.
And so you had a holster that would hold the gun?
Yes.
And to what side was that holster?
It's on the right because I'm right-handed.
Okay, and so presumably you're putting it in the right and the gun comes out of it on the right side?
Correct.
Okay. Now, who else was up when you, and what else was going on in the house that you were involved with?
I know Juliana was downstairs when I came upstairs from getting my work stuff out, my work laptop out of the basement. I don't remember exactly what she was doing. I think she might have been getting stuff ready in the kitchen.
Let me just stop you right there. Prior to that time, which would be February 24th, had you ever taken Christine's laptop or taken her phone out of a bag near the door?
No, I have.
Okay, we're hitting the pause button on this testimony, getting right into the FetLife allegations in this case that he set up an account for Christine. We have to also bring you an update out of Utah. You see the clock there at the bottom of your screen. We are in a verdict watch in the family murder plot trial for Kevin Ellis happening there in Utah. This jury, they've been deliberating for 2 hours and 3 minutes.
Ellis faces up to life in prison if he's convicted of killing his brother-in-law Matthew Rastelli back in July of 2024. Now, the prosecutors claim that Ellis, his sister, and the victim's wife, Catherine Rastelli, and their mother, Tracy Grist, lured Matthew to Utah to kill him because Catherine wanted out of their troubled marriage.
Now, Catherine took a plea deal and testified against Ellis, and she plans to testify when their mother's trial begins. We're going to continue to monitor these deliberations. We'll bring you the verdict when it happens, but when we come back, we are getting you back into that courtroom in Virginia for the Brendan Banfield testimony going on now.
Did an affair lead to double murder?
The Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has secured an indictment against Brendan Banfield for the murder of his wife, Christine, and the murder of Mr. Ryan.
Prosecutors allege the defendant planned to run away with the family's au pair.
So he killed his wife and another man.
He was saying, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna kill her.
It's a case of sex, lies, and deadly deception.
The Au Pair Affair murder trial. Live coverage today on Court TV.
Did you ever create any sort of a plan with Juliana?
No, there was no plan. At this point, our relationship is maybe 6 to 8 weeks old. I think that it's an absurd line of questioning for something that is not serious, that a plan was made to get rid of my wife. That is absolutely crazy.
Let's head back to the courtroom now where the defendant, Brendan Banfield, you heard him there, testifying in his own defense in the Au Pair Affair murder trial. And we were just hearing him asked on direct about whether or not he ever accessed his wife, Christine's computer.
I don't take her laptop. I have no reason to use her laptop. I don't have access to her laptop. It's not a password that I know. I have my own work laptop. I have my own home desktop. I have my own, actually I have 2 cell phones. I have a personal cell phone and a work cell phone. Our devices were completely separate.
And so in terms of, that's fine. In terms of the idea of the laptop, where it would be on a regular basis, do you have a recollection of where she would put her laptop?
Christine kept her laptop actually in several places. Sometimes it is by the front door when she gets home. She would have a backpack and she would bring the backpack and drop it off and generally go visit Valerie and our dog and me. But usually she would go upstairs and she would bring her backpack with her. And her desk is in the sitting area of our master bedroom. So if you were to go into the master bedroom, you can kind of either go left or right. And to the left is the sitting area, which is where Christine does her work and has her desk and her file and has her files for her job. And if you went to the right, it would be where the master bedroom is, and for a little bit further, the master bathroom. But she didn't also only keep her laptop at her desk. I would say the majority of her use would be sitting in bed with her back against the headboard while she had TV on or something like that. And when she would be done, she might put the laptop in between her nightstand and the bed, or on the nightstand itself, or back on her desk, generally at night.
And what about her phone? Where would there be a particular place where she might leave her phone?
I mean, her phone was basically always connected to her. Her phone wasn't really away from her basically ever. I mean, she would keep it in her pocket.
So following up on the discussion we had about a plan, was there ever any time, and I think you indicated that you never went and grabbed her laptop or whatever, was there ever any time you observed Juliana going to grab her laptop or her phone?
I never observed Juliana grab her laptop or her phone. Juliana also has her own laptop and phone.
Now, what, if anything, was Juliana and what were Juliana and Valerie supposed to be doing on February 24th?
Christine had scheduled for Valerie and Juliana to go to the zoo, at the main zoo in Washington, D.C.
Okay. Did you have any role in that?
I didn't have any role in planning the trip. I was aware of the trip.
And how did you become aware of the trip?
Christine had told me that that was something they were going to do.
Okay, so you never kind of forced that on her for the 24th?
No, it was also written on our calendar that was shown earlier. Christine had written it on the calendar. She had also written it on Juliana's work schedule in her au pair book.
Now, what, if anything, did you know about the plan for that day for them?
I knew that they were planning to go in the morning. I don't recall if I knew what time they were supposed to go, but I knew they were going in the morning, and I knew that when I saw Juliana in the morning, that's what she was working on doing, was getting Valerie ready. But Juliana had actually asked me to go get Valerie from upstairs. At some point in the morning, I heard Valerie's feet, meaning that she got out of her bed and pounded down the hallway and ran into my room.
Okay.
Joining us now to discuss, criminal defense attorney Silva Megardichian. Silva, thank you for being on with both of us. What do you think? His demeanor and a lack of accountability, I would suggest that he says the au pair made advances towards me that I didn't rebuke, but also my wife was traveling for weeks at a time and she knew that I'd had 2 affairs before. How do you assess his demeanor?
You know, it's funny, Judge Ashley and Julia, you guys, thank you so much for having me. Here's the issue. I was kind of surprised, I wonder if you guys were too, how not likable, but it's funny how people react when they testify. He was shy, emotional, very quiet. It was very different than what I saw while he was sitting next to counsel, where he's, writing those notes constantly and talking to counsel like he wanted to talk so badly. And it is really hard to believe that he was taken by her so much that he essentially had no choice, that he didn't make the advances, but he essentially was going along with it by this vixen au pair who came to work for them. He needs this. He needs to convince the jury this for any kind of reasonable doubt, right, Judge Ashley? I don't know how reasonable it is. This is a major guy, like he has a profession. He's working with the, IRS. This is not a small potato here who's going to fall victim, who's had affairs before. It's a hard pill to swallow, but I want to see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you mentioned his background as an IRS agent. We're hearing in some of his testimony, he sounds almost like an officer in the way that he's testifying. But I wonder if you picked up on the times that he's talking about his daughter. I mean, it almost gives this jury a moment every time he talks about his daughter to see him smile, to see him seem to have a heart because of how much it kind of shines through that he seemingly loves his daughter.
Julia, look, it humanizes him, right? It's funny because I think the au pair dehumanized him. I feel like when we listened to the au pair testify, we were sitting down looking at him as if he was a monster. He's humanized himself, right? It's like the mask is down. He has to show who he is. And he has to make whatever story he comes up with not only believable, but credible and digestible, because the facts of this case are so unbelievably horrific for these victims. So let's see where this goes, and let's see the cross.
Oh, yeah, we're getting closer and closer to that. Silva, stand by. We're going to get to our break so we can get everyone back in to where the defendant is testifying in the au pair affair murder trial. Keep it right here on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott along with Julia Janae, and we thank you for being with us this afternoon. You don't want to miss this. The defendant, Brendan Banfield, he is still on the stand, direct examination by his attorney, as he tells his side of the story in the au pair affair murder trial of Brendan Banfield out of Virginia.
Now, Brendan and his au pair, Juliana Magalhaes, we've shown you her testimony. She was on the stand. She's also accused of being involved in all of this. And Banfield is accused of killing his wife with his au pair and a man named Joseph Ryan, who was unknowingly used in this alleged plot, according to the prosecution. Now, Magalhaes accepted a plea deal in exchange for her testimony. She told the jury that Banfield was the mastermind behind the murder. So let's continue to listen to what he has to say about that.
So Juliana had asked me to get Valerie, because Valerie wasn't in her room, to start getting her ready. So I got Valerie out of my bed, which happened after I had finished getting my equipment ready.
And did you see Christine there?
Yes, when I had gone back upstairs, Christine was there, and she was sitting up. She was sitting up in bed. She had the blanket over her lap. She had both her laptop and her cell phone.
Okay, and what, if anything, did, so when you took Valerie, where did you take her in order to
Valerie was sleepy, so when I picked her up, she was still kind of limp, and I carried her downstairs to Juliana, and Juliana got her, kind of woke her up gently, and changed her out of pajamas and into her clothes for the day.
Okay. Did you take any part in getting ready, get sandwiches ready, get anything like that ready?
No, I was getting ready. I was getting ready to leave myself. I wasn't. Besides collecting Valerie, I wasn't doing anything to help them get ready for the day.
What time did you get out of the house that day? Do you have any recollection?
Roughly 7. Okay. A couple minutes after 7.
Would that be a usual time for you to leave?
I would say a more usual time for me to leave is roughly 7:30.
Okay. And in this instance, you were going earlier for what reason?
I was going earlier to just make sure that I had plenty of time in Vienna to get my presentation ready and have the conference room ready for when management was going to inspect my operation and documents for the operation that was supposed to happen on Tuesday.
Okay, and I'm sorry, you said Vienna. Why Vienna?
Vienna is where my office is. We have a couple offices, but that's the one that I'm stationed out of.
That's the home office for you?
Yes, that's my home office. The main office is in Washington, D.C., but this is one of the satellite offices, and that's the one that I work out of.
And what time was that meeting set for?
It was set for 9:30.
Okay, so you left at 7. For what reason?
I left at 7. I was going to go get breakfast, and after breakfast, I was going to get on the 267 toll road and head towards my office.
Okay, and where did you end up going to breakfast that morning?
I went to McDonald's for breakfast.
Okay, is that a common occurrence for you?
I would say that I occasionally go to McDonald's, but I often pick up breakfast on my way to work. Not necessarily McDonald's. Sometimes it's bagel places or place to get an egg sandwich.
Okay,
things like that.
So it's not uncommon. You don't usually make your breakfast at home?
On the weekend, I usually make a bigger breakfast for everyone. But no, normally I don't make breakfast for myself before work.
So when you went to McDonald's, you saw the video that the Commonwealth showed of you driving up to the drive-through?
Yes.
And it looks as though, well, it appears you go past the drive-through at one point. Is that correct?
It did. I circled the drive-through.
What was the reason for that?
The McDonald's app has a QR code so that you get reward points and you can use the deals that you get. And when I initially opened it, it didn't provide me with my code. And that's why I was like blocking the drive-through. And so then I basically just got back in line once the code came up.
Okay, and so
it was pretty quick.
And you had that app on your phone at that time?
I've had the McDonald's app for several years.
Okay. Now, when you, so I'm sorry, explain to me a little bit about that app. I'm not familiar with it.
You can order directly from there, but that's generally not what I do, because then the food gets made before you get there. So normally I just open up the QR code section and you can look at the deals, and the deals tell you, you know, you can get a free hash brown with your breakfast, and you can load that, or you can get a orange juice or coffee with it, and then you'll get reward points, and you can use the reward points to get free food too. So it's kind of a loyalty app that you would find for many restaurants.
And so when it didn't work the first time, you came back around?
Yeah.
And did it work?
Yes, then my QR code came up and I went to order.
Okay, so when we see you in your work vehicle with your sunglasses on, you got your food after that?
Yes.
Okay, and then what did you do?
I pulled straight forward. The McDonald's, the shopping center that the McDonald's is in, the McDonald's is kind of a standalone building. But basically you cross over the road. It's a road in the parking lot. You cross over the road. It's only, you know, it's a two-way road. And basically right on the other side of that road is parking spaces. And I was going to sit there to eat my breakfast.
Okay. And what was the parking space? What was the landmark next to your parking space?
It's kind of in front of Chuck E. Cheese, but it's really only a few feet from the exit of the drive-thru.
Okay. And so you went there to go eat your sandwich?
Yes, but I started with eating a cookie from Midnight Treats that my friends had brought me for my birthday the day before. If you're familiar with a place like Crumble, they're large cookies.
Okay.
I ate that first.
Okay, so you ate the cookie, and then what happened?
I started my car back up and went back to McDonald's to use the restroom.
Okay. And is that in the video the second?
We need to pause it there, but when we come back, Brendan Banfield wraps up his testimony for the day in the Au Pair Affair murder trial.
Tragic murder of Keith Canero and his entire family.
This one is the most brutal case that I've seen in my experience here.
The Mansion Murders Trial. Live coverage today on Court TV.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, Brendan Banfield takes the stand in his own defense. How does his testimony stack up against his mistress and co-defendant?
Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan. Tonight at 8/7 Central. Only on Court TV.
Let's get you back to Virginia, where defendant Brendan Banfield is wrapping up testimony for the day today in the Au Pair Affair murder trial.
Parking, or the first parking space that you went into?
Yes, so you see me park next to the side entrance of McDonald's.
Yes. And then What, if anything, I mean, you went to the restroom, so what happened then?
As I was finishing up in the restroom, I received a call from Juliana.
And without saying what she said, what did you do?
I left the restroom and went back to my car quickly.
And was she alarmed at the time?
She appeared to be. She sounded that she was very stressed.
Okay. And did you tell her that you were coming back?
I did not tell her that I was coming back on that original phone call. On the original phone call, I told her that I was going to call Christine.
Okay. And did you do that?
I did try to call Christine, but I did not reach her.
Okay. And so in terms of your communications with Christine, was that unusual for her to not pick up the phone?
I wouldn't say that it's unusual for Christine not to pick up the phone, but I would say it's unusual that her phone would go directly to voicemail. Many times if I would call her, she could be busy at work, but her phone would probably be on silent, and therefore it would ring and then go to voicemail. And then she might text me or call me back and let me know when she can call me back. But it was unusual that her phone went directly to voicemail.
Okay. Now, and so what did that cause you to do?
I believe I tried to call Christine again, of which it went to voicemail straight again. After that, I called Juliana back, and I told Juliana not to go in the house, and that I was going to return to the house.
Okay. And did you do that?
I did.
How long did it take you to get back to the house?
10 minutes, 11 minutes, 12 minutes, hard to say.
How long would it normally take?
I guess it depends there's a couple traffic lights. 8 to 12 minutes.
At that point, were you rushing? Were you
Objection leading.
What if, at that point, how was it that you were proceeding back to the house after the two phone calls that Christine didn't answer and the phone calls you received from Juliana?
I started driving quickly back to the house. I took the most direct route back to the house.
Okay. Now, if I can just stop you right there. Was there any plan for how something would happen with Juliana on February 24th?
There was no plan with Juliana on February 24th. As far as I knew, Juliana was going to be going to the zoo with Valerie, and Christine had just taken off from work, and I understood that she was going to be home, but I didn't know anything else. At that point, I was more concerned with my day of what I had to do at my job.
Prior to leaving the house, did you do anything with anyone's devices other than your own?
I didn't touch anyone else's devices that I remember that morning. I was just getting ready for work.
Okay. Specifically, did you touch Christine's devices, either of those?
No, I did not touch her devices.
Meaning the laptop and the phone?
No, I did not touch her devices.
Mr. Quiroz, is this a good time, or do you have more questions?
May I just look one second?
Sure.
Judge, this might be a good break.
Okay, this is a good break. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, since it is 5 o'clock break.
All right, so that wrapped up Banfield's testimony, but as we all know, he's coming back. He's got more direct examination.
Long time, I bet.
He's got cross-examination ahead. So all of that is going to be happening tomorrow morning. You can watch that here on Court TV. Let's get the conversation going with our guest who is watching this with us, criminal defense attorney Juliana Magalhaes. Did you see anything new in those final parts of his testimony today?
You know, Julia, you can see the weight of the situation is on him, right? He's stuttering a little bit. It's no longer the shallow conversation of what he ate at McDonald's or the scanning code or anything, right? We're getting into the nitty-gritty. And I think this is where credibility in every case is most essential. The jury has to decide the credibility of the witness, and in this case, the defendant. Everything he says from this point forward is going to really be assessed by that jury and how believable he is. And they're going to weigh in the back whether the au pair is more credible in her story or he is. Again, it's very difficult for me to believe that this man knew nothing of a plan. But let's see what he says. Let's see how he explains it. Look, this attorney, his attorney is very long-winded. So we're going to get, I think, a lot of specifics, a lot of questions. I think there's going to be redundancy. So he's going to have a lot of time to get his story heard by the jury. And then again, Julia and Judge Ashley, that cross is going to be fireworks.
Is there any opportunity for this? I've noted the amount of details he has provided in almost every answer. What if on cross he then says, I don't know, I can't recall? I see that perhaps happening, but are all the details he is providing really going to put him in a bad place?
Judge Ashley, it's so true what you said. The problem when we have clients who testify, we have to mock cross-examine them too, because if you're going to be specific and direct, you must be specific and cross, or else the jury's going to say, holy cow, this guy is transparent on direct, but completely protected in cross. It doesn't work. So who knows? I hope the defense attorney really tried cross-examination questions with him. He needs to stay relatively the same. His mood has to be the same. The way he speaks has to be the same. He can't lose his temper, and he can't protect himself the way he can in normal conversation. If you're going to be specific, you got to stay specific. If you say you don't remember details, they have to be consistent on direct and cross. Juries are smart, they're discernible, and they'll pick up on it, and it breaks credibility. If there's one thing I can say, Judge Ashley, about Juliana Magalhaes' testimony, she was unbelievably consistent on direct and cross. And he has to do the same if he wants to be believed and not face life in prison.
Fair
He's
point.
got to be super detailed because we're hearing a lot of details from him. What did you make about that part where he talked about basically he's coming? He called his wife twice and he's on his way. He's set to be the hero of this entire story.
Oh, Julia, it all depends on the believability of that. And he did say it. I mean, he said, I rushed home. Obviously, there was a problem, and he had to be the hero to fix it. Is it believable?
Juliana Magalhaes, thank you so much for being on with us as always. Ahead next hour, we're going to be joined by Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft. She has been inside of the courtroom.